Hello everybody out there in Clixland, and welcome to the official figure release for the Make It Meta competition that we are having next month. So as you guys can see, this is our Make It Meta tournament, kind of like our Sets Appeal tournament where they're going to have different prerequisites for each team. But how this is going to work is it's starting on Friday, March 12th and running through April 18th. It's going to be a $10 entry fee. There are 32 player cap unless we get more interested. I think we have about 15 people right now. And it's going to be 300 points modern per round. So again, how this is going to work is each round, everybody's going to get one figure that they have to add onto their team. So for instance, let's say I picked the Chase Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has to be on your team, and then you fill it out with whatever you want. Doesn't have to be themed. Just make him as meta as possible. So we're doing 5 rounds. Each round is going to be 1 week's worth. So you're going to go Friday to the following Thursday. You'll have that much time to get that game in, and then I'll release pairings, and then you'll do the next round. Now I will be releasing all 5 figures in just a little bit here, who you're going to be having for each round. And then if we are able to get all 32 people in this, the prizes are going to be first place gets a whole brick of Future Foundation, second place gets 5 boosters, third gets 3 boosters, and fourth gets 2 boosters. So without further ado, this is going to be the 5 figures that you will be using for this tournament. So round 1, you will be using Null from Spider-Man and Venom Absolute Carnage. Now this was because Mike Reardon came in second place in our Sets Appeal tournament. He decided that he wanted to pick Null for that character. So let's go a little bit over Null. So Null has 2 point values. So you can use them at any point value. If I give you a figure that has multiple point values, choose whatever point value you want. So he's got a 125 and a 250. So if you're doing the 250, that's pretty much your team. So let's look a little bit about his dial. He's got 3 traits. The first symbiote, My Shadow. Null may start the game with the all black and necro equipment at no cost, which I'm sure you're going to be putting on there as well. And I believe it's like Giant Reach 2. It's Steel Energy. I forget what it all does. Yeah, I know you can't evade or reduce damage by 1. It's a pretty good object. Then the God of Symbiotes, Plasticity, but has breakaway +3, and opposing characters have breakaway -3. Shape change, but succeeds on the 4 through 6. When Null KOs an opposing character after resolutions, heal 2 clicks. And then finally, Brackedness, I think that's what it says. Stealth, Smoke Cloud as free, but generates obscure terrain markers instead. Free, place Null in a square of obscuring terrain within 4 squares. So you're going to have to kind of decide. Do you want to make this guy as beefy as possible, or are you going to make some teams that are going to kind of get around his shape change and his stealth? Like, what are you going to do? So if you're going around that route where you want to just beat this guy up, you're probably going to go with the 125 instead of the 250 and build around him because you know that people are going to be playing him. Or you could just do the 250 and give him 50 points of whatever have you. So that's who you're playing for round 1. His keywords are Codex, Cosmic, Deity, Maximum Carnage, and Monster. We'll see what you guys come up with. Round number 2, we are going with...
Let's do this! All right. Everybody focus. I need you to focus on the white space.
Flexman Tallow, one of my personal favorite figures. I love him. Flexman Tallow, I didn't think he got enough love for what he does, but he only has 1 point value, 75 points. He's got Celebrity, Doom Patrol, and Past. He's got 1 trait, the Insult That Made Me a Man. Super Strength. Once per turn, when an opposing character of higher points hits Flexman Tallow, after resolutions, roll a d6, heal Flexman Tallow equal to half the result. Now that has saved me many times when playing against this or playing with this guy. I love that trait. He also has a defense called My Famous Hero Halo. Energy Shield Deflection. Toughness. When an opposing character makes a ranged attack targeting Flexman Tallow, modify their damage by -2. So he's got a little bit more of staying power, especially if you have a range-based team you're going against. And then finally, his damage power. I flexed hard enough to turn the pentagon into a circle. Free. Choose a piece of blocking terrain within 5 squares. This turn, characters treat that piece of blocking terrain as clear for movement and line of fire, but it still can't be occupied. So that's one reason why I decided to pick him, because that is a very interesting special power. I want to see what people come up with for that. I've used it a few times. It really helped me out. So I want to see what people come up with flexman tallow. So that's going to be round 2. Now remember, you're playing every round unless you want to drop out. That's totally acceptable as well. But I think it's going to be fun just to play as many games as you can with these characters. So round 3, we are going with Absorbingman from Captain America. Again, one of my favorites. I don't think he had a time to shine because he is just such a versatile and a Swiss Army knife kind of guy. He only has 1 point value. It's 100 points. He's got the Masters of Evil team ability. He's got a long dial for 100 points. He's got Lethal Legion, Masters of Evil, Wrecking Crew for his keywords. He's got 1 trait. Take on the properties of any element. Free. Choose an adjacent square terrain type. An Absorbingman can use the corresponding powers and abilities until you choose again. Use the wall marker that comes with him, blah, blah, blah. So first one, if you put it next to obscuring terrain, you get improved movement, elevation, blocking, super senses, and modify speed by +2. So you can give himself a 10 speed. If you put it on hindering terrain, improve movement, hindering, stealth, regen, and modify attack by +2. If you put it next to blocking terrain, improve movement. This character can move through blocking terrain. Immediately after movement resolves, destroy all blocking terrain he moved through. Super strength, close combat expert, and modifies by defense +2. So you can give him a 19 defense. And lastly, if you put it next to water, improve movement, water, poison, shape change, and modify damage by +2. So you can give him a 6 damage if you want to. Yes, he's a little bit low on the defensive powers towards the end, but you could bump it up to a 15 if you put it next to blocking. That's up to you, but this is one of my all-time favorites just because he's so versatile with everything he can do. Can't wait to see what people come up with for this guy. Round number 4, we are going with, again, one of my favorites. I didn't think she got enough love, and that is the Con LE Leandra. So Leandra has 2 pointing values, 75 and 100. She's got the Imperial Guard, Ruler, Shi'ar, Starjammers, and X-Men keyword. She's got 2 traits, Universal Psychic Link. At the beginning of the game, choose a friendly character when Leandra and the chosen character are within 8 squares of either character. And either character takes damage from an attack. After resolutions, you may heal the character that took damage 1 click and deal the other character 1 unavoidable damage, protected pulse wave. Second trait, Assassination of an Empress. When Leandra is KO'd by an opponent's attack, you may choose another character with the Shi'ar keyword. This game, that character modifies combat values by +1 and can use leadership protected pulse wave. So just because you pulse wave her doesn't mean that trait goes off. So that's great. And then lastly, Save Leandra. Leadership perplex, but only to target friendly characters when but only to target friendly characters. When Leandra uses Perplex, if the target has any of these keywords listed below, also modify the corresponding combat values by +1. So you do +1 in the damage, and then you do whatever these say. So if you have X-Men, you're also getting a +1 speed. If you're doing Shi'ar, you're getting a +1 attack. If you're doing Imperial Guard, you're doing a +1 to defense. Starjammers +1 damage. So I picked her because I love the Starjammer keyword. There are a lot more ones that came out with that in the latest House of X set. So I think she's going to be a great support piece. She's a little pricey at 175 points, but I think she can find a way on some really good meta teams. Especially now that Emperor Vulcan, looking at you, is now considered a Imperial or a Shi'ar. I can't remember. I know Kosar has a team-up card that makes him into a team ability that shares with her. So putting it out there. I don't think you can do Kosar, Leandra, and Emperor Vulcan at full. I think you put him at... Does he have 1 or 2? I can't remember. But I don't think it quite turns out to be 300 points. But that should be a fun team. And then lastly... round number 5. This one is probably the most versatile figures for theme teams, non-generic wise, but that's going to be the good old super rare
give up.
Madrox from Dark Phoenix. So you can't play him at 400 points because we're only doing 300 points, but he does have a 300 point value, a 200 point value, and a 100 point value. So let's click on the 300 point value and tell you a little about this guy. So he's got 2 traits. I can't see the bottom of the pile yet. At the beginning of the game, generate a number of Madrox dupe bystanders corresponding to his point value. 404, 303, 202, 101. If Madrox would be KO'd while adjacent to a Madrox dupe, instead KO one of those bystanders and turn him to click 22. The original multiple man. Before I go, these are what the dupes look like. It's got 6 plasticity, 10 attack, 16 ESD with a 0 damage empowered. Alright, back to the original multiple man. When Madrox is hit by an attack or hits with a close attack, after resolutions generate a Madrox dupe bystander. Using Flurry may generate 2 bystanders this turn. He has a attack power that copies have been learning on their own. Madrox and his Madrox dupes can use the standard attack and damage powers that opposing characters adjacent to them can use. So if your adjacent opposing character has blades, they can use blades as well. When they lose the power as soon as the opposing character is no longer adjacent. So let's say, they had blades, they sidestep away, you can no longer use blades. So you have to be next to them to use that power. And then R, stop making new layers. Shape change. When he uses it on a result of a 5, generate a Madrox dupe bystander. On a result of a 6, generate 2 Madrox dupe bystanders. Protected outwit. So you can't outwit it, but you can battle fury it, and you can pulse wave it. So again, he's a guy that it was a great idea the way they made him, but they just made him way too many points. It should have been like a 50, 100, 150, 200 point character because he just doesn't have the damage output. This 100 for 4 clicks is rough. Plus with a 1 damage. So I really want to see what people can do with this guy to make him as competitive as possible. Now, he does have a ton of keywords. He has assassin, celebrity, detective, pirate, police, politician, reporter, scientist, soldier, spy, X-Factor, X-Men. So we'll see what people want to go with this guy. X-Men is probably going to be a very popular one, but let's see what everyone has for this guy. And that is going to be our figures. I'm trying to find, there it is. So if you want to get in on this tournament, contact me on Facebook through our Clixin It page, and I can get you into this. Remember, it's only $10. There's going to be a bunch of cool prizes if you get 1 through 4. And how we're doing it is whoever has the best record after 5 rounds and then by points is going to be the way we place it. Now, you're not going to need... I would like you to have a spectator, but it is not necessary to have a spectator. The last Sets Appeal tournament, I watched 17 games. That was way too much for me. And now, seeing the fact that we're doing 16 games per round times 5, there's no way I'm watching that many games. So if you can find a spectator to watch your game, I'll try and watch as many as possible so I can record them and put them up on our Facebook and YouTube channel. But having a spectator is not required. So that's going to be our Make It Meta tournament. I hope you guys enjoy the figures that we picked. Thank you, Mike Reardon, for giving us null in the first round. And I can't wait to see what you guys have for the teams. And submit me those teams whenever you get those. I'll make sure to put them down in a Google Sheet. And then once we get everybody in there, probably the weekend before March 12th, I'll do pairings. And then you guys can do your matches whenever you want. So yeah, thanks a lot for participating in this tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, just like our Sets Appeal tournament. Make sure you guys are checking out our YouTube page, our Facebook, and our podcast. Check out glasscabinet.hobbies.com. He's doing case breaks for the new Future Foundation that comes out next week. If you use code Clixin It, CLIXINIT, you get 5% off your order. I am already in case break 1, but he does have a bunch more case breaks that are coming up. And then until next time, make sure you guys are staying safe out there, and as always, keep clicking it.